Have you ever looked at your father and wondered, why don't I admire him the way I used to? Or maybe you're a father yourself, silently asking, why doesn't my son look up to me anymore? The truth is hard. Respect isn't given. It's earned. And in the quiet corners of our homes, in the unspoken moments between father and son, something often breaks. And it's not always easy to see why. In this video, we're diving deep into Stoic wisdom to uncover why so many sons lose respect for their fathers, and more importantly, how that respect can be rebuilt through presence, purpose, and principle. Before we dive in, subscribe if you're on a journey of self-improvement. This channel is here to challenge you, guide you, and help you become the person you were meant to be. Let's begin. 1. Talk less, live more. One of the fastest ways for a father to lose his son's respect is by talking more than he lives. Words without actions are like a map without a destination. A son doesn't need lectures, he needs a living example. When a father says one thing but does another, preaching responsibility while shirking his duties, or demanding honesty while telling lies, he unknowingly teaches his son to doubt the value of words. Over time, the son learns to recognize hypocrisy, not just in others, but tragically in the man he looks up to most. Children are naturally observant. They study the adults around them, especially their parents, like silent apprentices. A father who constantly talks about discipline, but lives in chaos, showing no order, no routine, no control, sends a contradictory message. A father who demands integrity but cheats on taxes or breaks promises teaches his son that honesty is just a tool used to manipulate others. The real lesson is never in the speech, it's in the life. The Stoic philosophers such as Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus understood this deeply. To them, philosophy was not an intellectual game, it was a way of living. They didn't believe in separating belief from behavior. What you believed was what you practiced, and what you practiced was who you were. Stoicism taught that true wisdom is found not in eloquence, but in action. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote in his private journal, a journal that later became Meditations, that a man should be upright, not kept upright. In other words, don't wait for circumstances to force you into integrity. Live it, embody it. Be the kind of man whose life speaks so clearly that words become almost unnecessary. For fathers, this is a vital lesson. Your son is watching how you handle stress, how you treat others, how you respond to challenges. He observes how you talk to his mother, how you spend your free time, and whether your values hold up when tested. If your words about kindness and patience disappear the moment you're frustrated, he learns that values are just costumes we wear, not parts of who we truly are. To live more and talk less doesn't mean becoming silent. It means ensuring that your words and actions are aligned. It means modeling the behaviors you hope to see in your son: accountability, humility, consistency, and courage. When a son sees his father wake early, work hard, admit when he's wrong, and stay true to his word even when it's inconvenient, that leaves a lasting impression. Respect is earned not through power or punishment, but through character. And character is something you can't fake. 2. Comfort is the enemy. Comfort can be seductive. It whispers that safety is enough, that peace is worth any price, even the price of courage. But fathers who constantly seek comfort risk teaching their sons the wrong lesson. That avoidance is a form of strength. That hiding from hard conversations or shying away from emotional honesty is acceptable. In truth, it isn't. A father who never confronts a disobedient son, who avoids talking about his own failures, or who shuts down emotionally to keep things calm, may think he's maintaining peace. But he's really avoiding growth. Sons sense when something is being withheld. They may not understand it fully, but they feel it. They notice when a father withdraws instead of stepping forward. Over time, they internalize this behavior and begin to replicate it. A cycle begins where fear masquerades as wisdom. The Stoics had no tolerance for this kind of retreat. Seneca wrote that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality, pointing to how often fear of discomfort causes more pain than discomfort itself. Courage, to the Stoics, wasn't the absence of fear. It was rational strength in the face of it. It meant knowing something was difficult and choosing to do it anyway. They knew that truth, especially difficult truth, was worth pursuing, even if it made people uncomfortable. Modern fathers must reclaim this principle. Discomfort is not the enemy. In fact, it's often a signpost, an indicator that something meaningful is about to happen. Whether it's opening up about personal struggles, admitting mistakes, disciplining with fairness instead of anger, or engaging in raw, emotional conversations, stepping into discomfort models real strength. If a son sees his father avoiding life's difficulties, he begins to think manhood is about silence, withdrawal, and passive endurance. But when a father walks into those challenges, when he leans into the tough talk, holds his ground with grace, and remains emotionally available, the son sees that courage is steady and quiet, not loud and violent. What does this look like practically? It means choosing honesty over comfort, apologizing when you've lost your temper, being vulnerable enough to say, "I don't know," or "I'm scared too." It means showing your son that life is hard, but you're not afraid of hard things. It means teaching him, through action, that strength is not the absence of struggle, but the willingness to face it with resolve. Comfort may offer temporary relief, but discomfort, when handled wisely, creates depth. And in the end, depth is what builds real men. 3. Purpose beyond paycheck. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that provision equals purpose, that a paycheck and a roof over your family's head are the sole responsibilities of a father. And while providing is essential, it is not sufficient. A man can give his son everything he needs materially and still leave him spiritually and emotionally starved. When a father wakes up each day just to survive, go through the motions, check the boxes, and collapse in exhaustion, he sends a quiet message: this is all life is. If there is no larger purpose, no visible fire behind his eyes, no sense of mission in his actions, the son learns to view adulthood as a burden rather than a calling. He may fear growing up, thinking that to be a man means to suffer in silence and die slowly. The Stoics rejected this kind of existence. To them, life wasn't just about getting by, it was about becoming. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly to live according to nature, meaning to live according to reason, virtue, and the pursuit of excellence. A Stoic man asks himself regularly, what am I here for? What is my duty? How do I grow into the best version of myself, regardless of what life throws at me? Fathers who live with intention give their sons a tremendous gift: vision. They show them that life is not a passive experience, but an active journey. That we are not just workers, but thinkers, creators, protectors, and builders of meaning. A man with a sense of purpose lifts those around him. His energy is contagious. His presence inspires. This doesn't mean a father must have a perfect career or grand ambition. Purpose is not always flashy. Sometimes it's found in quiet consistency, working a modest job with integrity, mentoring others, serving the community, or creating a legacy through love and discipline. What matters is that the father shows his son that life is meant to be lived on purpose, not just endured. A son will remember how his father approached life far more than what he earned. Was he passionate? Was he principled? Did he chase meaning or money? Did he talk about the why behind his actions, or just check off the what? When a boy grows up watching a man live with purpose, he learns that fulfillment isn't optional, it's essential. That meaning is not something handed to you. It's something you build, one deliberate choice at a time. And in that example, the son finds the blueprint for his own becoming. 4. Emotional chaos is not power. Emotions are not the enemy, but letting them rule you is. There is a common misconception in our culture, especially among men, that emotion equals weakness. But just as dangerous and often more destructive is the belief that unchecked emotion equals power. Many fathers fall into this trap, thinking that loud anger, intimidating silence, or visible stress communicates strength or authority. But what these behaviors actually communicate is instability, fear, and a lack of control. A father who erupts in rage during conflict might believe he's asserting dominance or setting boundaries. In reality, he's teaching his children, especially his sons, that manhood is tied to volatility. His anger becomes the weather system of the household. When he walks into a room, everyone checks the temperature. Is it safe? Will he explode? Today, should we speak or stay silent? Stoic philosophy, far from advocating emotional suppression, offers a radically different path: emotional mastery. Stoicism teaches us that our emotions are signals, not commands. They provide information, not orders. A Stoic father doesn't deny that he feels anger, frustration, sadness, or anxiety, but he refuses to let those emotions dictate his actions. He practices the pause. He asks, "Is this within my control?" before reacting. A son growing up in a home ruled by emotional chaos learns unpredictability. One day, his father is calm and affectionate. The next, distant or enraged. The boy learns to walk on eggshells. He internalizes the message that masculinity is unstable, unsafe, and reactive. He learns to fear emotion, not understand it. Or worse, he learns to weaponize it, mimicking what he saw in his father. On the other hand, a son raised by a father who practices emotional restraint and accountability witnesses something different. He sees a man who feels deeply but responds wisely. He sees a man who takes responsibility for his moods instead of projecting them onto others. In moments of stress, this father becomes the calm in the storm. When there's conflict, he speaks, firmly but without cruelty. When mistakes happen, he owns them without shame. His emotional stability becomes a lighthouse, not just for his children but for his entire family. This kind of fatherhood demands internal discipline. It requires a man to confront his own emotional triggers and insecurities. He may have grown up with a father who yelled or shut down or blamed others. Breaking that cycle is not easy, but it is possible and powerful. True strength is not the ability to overpower others with your feelings. It's the ability to stay rooted when the winds of emotion blow. It's choosing composure over chaos. Power isn't loud. Power is self-control. When fathers learn to master their inner world, they raise sons who do not fear emotion, but understand it. Sons who don't need to dominate to feel strong. Sons who grow into men who lead with calm confidence. And in that transformation, we break generational cycles of emotional instability. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be intentional. Your son doesn't need a father who never gets angry. He needs one who knows how to handle anger with integrity. He doesn't need a father who never struggles. He needs one who doesn't let those struggles define him. A Stoic father isn't numb. He's just not a slave to his impulses. He listens before reacting. He breathes before speaking. He acts from values, not moods. In mastering your emotions, you don't lose your humanity. You become a deeper, stronger version of it, and that's the kind of man every son deserves to learn from. 5. Validation is a trap. Trying to be liked is the fastest way to lose respect. From childhood, many men are taught to seek approval, get good grades, follow the rules, make others proud, fit in, don't rock the boat. And while external validation can offer momentary comfort, it quickly becomes a trap, a prison made of other people's expectations. Fathers who live for approval often don't realize the cost. They say yes when they mean no. They bend their beliefs to avoid conflict. They apologize not because they were wrong, but because they're afraid of being disliked. This chronic people-pleasing may seem kind or cooperative on the surface, but underneath, it signals insecurity and self-abandonment. When a father lives like this, his son notices. Sons are observant. They see their fathers shrink in meetings, hesitate to set boundaries, or try too hard to be liked by everyone, including their own children. What the son learns is that manhood means compromise, not of principles, but of identity. He sees that his father values harmony over truth, approval over authenticity. But the applause you chase today will fade tomorrow. People's opinions are fickle. You can be a hero on Monday and a villain by Friday. If your self-worth depends on the praise of others, you've built your foundation on sand. Stoic philosophy cuts through this noise with sharp clarity. Do what is right, not what is popular. Seek truth, not approval. A Stoic man is grounded in internal values, not external validation. He is not cold or detached. He simply understands that chasing acceptance from others is a hollow pursuit. When a father models integrity over likability, he gives his son something rare and powerful. He teaches that you can disagree respectfully, stand alone when needed, and still remain rooted in dignity. He shows that real strength is having the courage to be misunderstood, even disliked, in service of what is right. This doesn't mean becoming arrogant or indifferent. It means being anchored in your principles. It means asking, am I being honest? Am I being fair? Instead of, will they like me? A father who lives this way gives his son permission to do the same. The boy doesn't need to pretend, perform, or compromise his values to fit in. He learns that his worth isn't up for a vote. He learns to trust his own voice. And here's the paradox. The less you chase validation, the more respect you gain. People may not always agree with you, but they'll know where you stand. They'll see your consistency, your courage, and most importantly, your son will. Fathers don't need to be perfect, but they need to be honest. If you've lived for approval, it's not too late to shift. Start by telling the truth in small ways. Say no when you mean no. Admit when you don't know something. Set boundaries without guilt. Your son doesn't need a father who says yes to everything. He needs a father who says yes to what matters. Validation is fleeting, but character endures. In choosing integrity over approval, you not only reclaim your self-respect, you show your son how to do the same. Let others chase applause. You build a life worth respecting. Be who you needed. The greatest gift a father can give his son is not protection. It's example. Respect isn't something your title earns. It's something your character builds. Through discomfort, through failure, through growth. Every moment is a chance to show your son not just who you are, but who he can become. If this message hit home, don't just watch, reflect. Don't just nod, act. And if you're ready for more truths like this, subscribe. We're building better men, one truth at a time. Because in the end, your son won't remember what you said. He'll remember who you were.